Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so, hi, Everett.
Hi.
So tell me about your Tavani experience so far this year. Like, how many times have you gotten to work with her?
I've gotten to work with her a total of 5 times, and to be honest, as a second-year teacher going into it, I was extremely nervous because, first of all, I didn't even know who she was. I didn't know who Sam Bennett was. But also just going into it, I was like, okay, time out of the classroom. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And sometimes professional development is something that hasn't been helpful for me. But with Chris Tavani, it's been extremely helpful as far as like time with her, but to also see someone that's been in this field for many years, like 15 plus years, if not more, to show me ways that we can get more engagement with kids, but also different strategies to use in the classroom. What's been really helpful for me is I'm an English teacher, and you can tell that she was an old English language arts teacher, and just to see some of her strategies working with kids and how we can change our practice to go into best practice and how to learn the evergreen workshop wheel has been really helpful.
So thinking about the resources, right? So you've been out of your classroom a total of 6 days because we had a planning day too, and then we've also spent a ton of money together here, right? And just a lot of resources. Do you think it's worth it?
Yeah, and it's not even just for as individuals. It's also the opportunity to work with other teachers in our building to collaborate together, to use different materials she's given us from the 4 T's of teaching and just different. It's been a huge step from my first year of teaching where every day I go home and I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Where this year I feel really confident. I think the kids are noticing a different change in my style of teaching as well, and just their overall excitement and engagement in my class has been much better than it was last year. Still learning, of course, but it's been a good experience.
Why has it been helpful to work with colleagues?
Because it's fun to learn about different content, but also to challenge each other. I think there's times where sometimes we struggle with the same thing, sometimes we are working on different strategies and different techniques, and I think the more brains you have on a subject, the more ways we can work something out. And it's been great. I've worked with Allie for 6 days with Chris Tavani, and just even though going into it, she's history and I'm English. At first you wouldn't think it would work out, but it's been excellent to find ways in which we can actually, cross curricular, actually put some stuff together and work with all our students together has been sweet.
And what kind of stuff have you guys worked on?
Well, it's also more of just we both have freshmen, and she's talking about world problems, and I'm teaching Persepolis, where we're talking about the Islamic Revolution in Iran, and she's talking, which is very history based, and she's able to talk about conflict and how even though I'm teaching the book of Persepolis and talking about graphic novels and talking about the writing process that goes into a novel, which is why we made kids books and etc. She gets to talk about the actual history behind it, what's going on in Iran and during the Islamic Revolution and other different revolutions as well.
Have you noticed any change in your practice and in student outputs from your work with Tavani?
So yeah, student outputs for sure. Mainly because it's more than just engagement. It's also just their quality of work. To have an excitement for one big make and to see the whole process that goes into my planning, but also their work has been. The make at the very end has been with an authentic audience. My biggest goal going with Chris Tavani has been an authentic audience, and seeing their quality of work skyrocket because they actually have someone more eyes reading it than just me has been awesome. So as far as student output, just quality of work and just engagement in class, they've been locked in.
Are you interested in continuing this work moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that's been extremely helpful. I'm fortunate to have it for 8 days total this entire year. I mean, we've only done 6 so far, but moving forward, it's something that we absolutely need. And the thing is, I'm wanting, when we're trying to get more people in Gila to have an experience with Chris Tavani, because she's changed my way of teaching. She's changed Allison Wallace's way of teaching, and it's been extremely helpful. And I don't know if I would have had a big gap between my first and second year teaching if it wasn't for Chris Tavani and her ways of teaching it, but also you think PD, she's talking to 50 other people, which is great. We get to see her model a lesson, but she actually spends time individually to work with all of us, which is helpful as well. So it's more than just observing her and working with her. It's individualized as well.
And has your work with her inspired any professional goals for you?
Yeah, like she, we work with unit plans, and she'll, even though with one specific unit plan she'll work with us, it also changes the way in which my future units will be taught, and it's extremely helpful to know, like in the future, what I can do with other units and how I can plan in what lessons to teach, which makes to make, and how can I have authentic audiences, etc. It kind of just helps me. After a day with Chris Tavani, your like mind's about to explode. Like you're honestly like you're just exhausted because you have so much you're thinking about, like what you're going to do in the future, etc. That like it's so helpful. Like I can't even tell you enough.
And do you feel like it's a brain explode where it's sustainable and it makes a difference in your practice, or a brain explode where you're just like, woo?
Because there's so much information that you're able to gather and remember, and it's not like it's just like in your head and it's going to go away. Like she gives you materials, she sits down with you individually, and you write out unit plans. Like this is something that, I mean, realistically, I can probably use for a lifetime. It's nothing that's just going to be gone after 2 days of working with her.
And is there anything else you want to add?
I just think this experience has been totally worth it. Like I was really fortunate going into it. I was extremely scared. Where I laugh at that now because, I mean, it's night and day. And without Chris Tavani, I probably wouldn't be the same teacher I am today.